Ron Collins. He is our guest performer for today, and Mr. Collins is a fabulous bass player. Welcome, Mr. Collins.
Hello.
I'm going to pass the microphone to him now. So he'll be talking to you, and guys, Josh, listen, don't waste your time, okay? Because what's going to happen now is that you're going to spend your time now fooling with the camera, and you're going to miss what we're doing. So I'm not going to bother anymore now, okay, with the camera. You just leave that alone, and just listen to what we're doing. We'll do everything without the camera, okay? Chris doesn't even have a camera where he's to, so no big deal. Don't worry about it. We did this class this morning with another slot, and we didn't use any cameras at all. So I'd say, guys, cut your losses, leave the camera. We'll get that figured out in another class. Okay, let's move on. I'm going to pass the microphone to Mr. Collins, and I'm going to be typing. Okay, so, and listen, if anybody's got any questions, feel free. Just if you got any questions, you can just raise your hand and ask your questions, or you can type them in, whatever you find more comfortable. But listen, this is a great musician. He's here today for a visit, so take advantage. Ask questions. This guy knows a lot of stuff. Okay, here, I'm going to pass the microphone to him.
I'm going to go behind me with this.
Yep.
So I'm not hitting the strings. Hello, can you guys hear me? I guess. Yeah, okay, I'm seeing some yups come up on the screen. Yep, they can hear me.
Yahoo!
Next question, can you hear the bass if I play? Kinda. Yeah, we might need to move that up. We're just moving it a little closer to where I'm sitting so that the mic I'm on should be able to pick it up okay. Let's try this. Hopefully that'll come through pretty good. It's too faint.
Well, that was the whole one.
Oh, okay. How's that?
Close up, Jess?
Close enough for Ozzy.
Yeah. That should do though. Nah, they can hear. They can pick up Crazy Train.
Okay, there you go. If you know it's Crazy Train, you can hear it good enough. So what is it, Mr. Mercer? I'll ask you first. What does he want me to sort of focus on or talk about first?
Well, I'll tell you what. Let's just talk about the bass first. I'll put some pictures. You can talk about maybe 4 strings.
Yep.
And that kind of thing. Basic, because the basics. A lot of them would probably never seen the bass before.
Okay.
Well, you can ask questions and they'll answer. And ask questions and they'll answer if you want.
Sure. All right, guys. So I've been playing bass for a long time, but I'm also a saxophone player. I actually started my school band on saxophone and still play that. So I play bass guitar and saxophone. And oddly enough, even though I'm a professionally trained saxophone player, that was what I did at university, I think I've actually had more professional gigs as a bass player because there's just less bass players around, I think. Especially bass players that can read music and stuff like that. So, but I started it because I missed playing the low stuff on a baritone saxophone. Bass has 4 strings, not 6 like a regular guitar. And it's not just the 4. I heard a little ding there. Andrew.
Okay, so ask if somebody had a question.
Did somebody have a question there?
That means.
Someone have a question? Oh, was it a typo?
Oh, maybe it's a typo. Maybe I typed something wrong.
Okay. All right, I'll carry on. Yeah, it's got 4 strings, not 6, and it's not the same 4 strings as a guitar. They're actually all an octave lower. They're very much lower sounding than the guitar strings because they're thicker. And generally speaking, in musical instruments, anything bigger is going to sound lower. So, like flutes are pretty small and they play high. Tubas are pretty big and they play low. So that's the same sort of thing applies here. You got a guitar string like the E string, the high one, and that's pretty thin. And on the bass, they're all thicker. So the 4 strings of the bass, I can't really show you because I only have 3.
Yeah, you should tell them that.
I never brought my own bass today, so for everyone listening, I'm actually struggling a little bit because one of these strings is missing. I don't know if Nick can see it or not, but there's 3 strings on this bass, but I'll try and get by. So the lowest sounding one is E. That's that there. And then there's an A. There's a D missing, but the note would be this. And a G is the last string. And that's the highest sounding one. What bass guitar does is fairly different from guitar as well. Our jobs are different. regular guitar, you play a chord, then you play the next chord. You know, like if you're playing an E on a guitar, then the bass player might be doing something like just a bunch of E's, or some other things I'll show you in a minute. But if your next chord is an A, then the bass player will probably somehow connect E to A. Instead of just playing E and then A, I'll play E. So I lead upwards towards the A, right?
So these guys, this is applied guitar chords.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if they can hear me, but this is applied guitar chords. So these guys all have guitars.
Yeah.
So they're learning to play chords.
Okay.
So so you might want to tell them like, okay, if the guitar player is playing an A chord, then what would the bass player play?
If you're playing an A chord, I got a couple of different choices. I'm almost always going to start by playing an A. The bass will, like 99.9% of the time, play the name of the chord first. Okay. My choices after that would be to either stay with the A over and over. A lot of rock songs have used that, you know, or just a. Stay around the A and do maybe a little thing in between, but you can just pretty much stay in the A. The other thing I could do would be to outline the notes of that chord. So when you play an A chord on the guitar, you're actually getting 3 different notes coming out and sort of repeat it over and over for the 6 strings. I could take those 3 notes and play them individually, like this one, the A, and that one, and this one. And those 3 notes together would make the chord, and but I would have to play them independently, separately from each other. So I'd go something like, or more likely, something like this. So I'm just playing the notes from the chord.
Yeah, I asked them if they heard that before. I asked them if they heard that.
Have you heard that particular bass line? You've probably heard before, have you? Does that sound familiar? Something like that? Yeah, because it's been used like a bazillion times in rock songs. Okay. You have a question or anything? Or yeah, what do you want to do there?
Ask if they got any questions.
Do you guys have any questions at this point? Some people call it a run. Okay, yeah. Another term you might hear for different bass patterns would be a riff, R-I-F-F. You might, and guitar riffs, right? But a run, yeah, you can call it a run. Sometimes you'll hear the term walking bass line. I'll go over that in just a few minutes. But when you're outlining the notes of the chord, yeah, that's what you're doing. You're just playing the notes that fit in with that chord you're playing on the guitar, the A chord. All right, what else? Nick says, what do you think more difficult here, acoustic guitar or bass? Oh, more difficult to learn? You know what? I think it depends on the person. I have an acoustic guitar myself and I hardly ever play it. I always found the strings thin and kind of dig into my finger a bit, but maybe it's just because I'm used to the bass. I find I can play a chord, but it takes me a little while to switch to the next one, and that's just a matter of me spending time at it to learn it. But my motivation to do that hasn't really been that high yet. I've been content enough to sort of work on the bass a little bit more, as opposed to getting into the guitar. Which was more difficult to learn? I don't know. You might need a little, well, you don't need more theory for bass, but it certainly helps a lot. Because, you know, when I play an A chord, I'm also concerned about what chord's coming next. If I know that after my A chord, the next chord is a D, then I want to do something like, right, which leads up to the D. So I guess there's a little bit more sort of theory thought goes into it in terms of chord changes.
See if they got another question.
Yeah, any other questions? Type them up there, we'll see them.
Tell them to get $10 for every question.
$10 per question, Andrew says. Watch them all fly up.
What